I'm going to bring up our first speaker. And we don't normally do this, but this is a very special man. And he's got a very special message. He's probably one of the bestest, toppest DJs. If you've been in the DJ scene, he's the guy. And he's got a beautiful story, an inspirational story of growth, an inspirational story of how he was able to get through his barriers, how he was able to overcome some of the toughest times. We've all had tough times, right? Yeah? So he's going to share with us his journey, and I don't want to say too much because it's a very special story, and what I'd like you to do is if we can just start to give him a massive, massive, massive round of applause. If we can bring on stage Brandon Block.
Hey! Yes, group. Can you hear me all right, everyone? Well, where do I start? Oh, what an honour to be here. It's really humbling, actually, and I never thought I'd be here. I want to thank everyone first. I've made so many friends in this personal development world who are very close to me now, and they're speaking tonight, Ian and Alan. Brian, I've just completed Brian's goal mapping course, which if those of you who are interested in anything improving your life, I suggest you go and see them and book up for it. All my friends who've come to see me, who've supported me through, here we go, who've supported me through some really tough times. Right, okay. So, I've got a few things to say. So firstly, I'm going to talk about a tool which I use. You'll hear about more in my journey, how these tools impact on life and how they've helped me. And I think, well, actually, in fact, I know if you practice these small things, they will actually work, and they can change the way you feel about certain things and about certain situations in life, which, although they may not seem very big, can impact on your daily life. And I know for one, and I'm sure everyone else, hands up if in the morning you've got up and that old story, stubbed your toe or had some of the text message which wasn't very nice, and all of a sudden your whole day's ruined. Hands up if that's happened. Right, so these little thinking things or this one actually tool I'm going to tell you about comes from a model called Smart Recovery. It stands for Self-Management and Recovery Training. It's used to help people with addictive behaviours and also other behaviour changes. And there's many tools in the handbook, let's say, which are easy to understand, very simple to put into practice, and they work. And we use them with clients who are willing to want to change, who don't have the tools to do that. So this is what I'm going to tell you about later. Who wants to hear about that tool, by the way? Sorry, this is my first time speaking, so you're... I have to, you know what, I have to get in there. Victim stance. Oh, bless him, I know. I don't need blessing. I need your support, and you're lovely you're all here. Thank you very much. So, excuse me. Right, my story. Wow. Where do we start? Hold on to your hats. Here we go. So many, actually, this is a really funny story. So Carl, you all know Carl who runs the YESx group, and Carl, 30 years ago, to this year in fact, 2018, employed me in my first DJ gig. And he was a prolific promoter at the time. He gave me an option to follow my passion, which was music. I drove him absolutely mental until he said, okay, come and join us, come and play music, which I did. I thank God, and I'm very grateful that I got very successful. Very, very big back in the 90s, which was the time of, let's say, acid house, or a big dance music movement, which started and hasn't ended. It's actually continued through till now and changed the face of music as we know it. So remixes. I'm not sure if you're aware of the dance music scene, but if you do, then you'll know that it's just been blown up through those 30 years. Anyway, I was lucky enough to be part of that, and back in the day we were called superstar DJs. I think we were like pop stars. We were making records. We were making music. We were hitting. I actually had a number 3 hit, believe it or not, and I was behind the Spice Girls and Westlife in 1998. And I was on Top of the Pops. So that was a big goal for me. I mean, actually, a goal. It was just a big deal, and actually one of for those of you who grew up in the 80s and the 90s, that was our program. I mean, we used to live by that, and so to be on there was an incredible experience. Anyway, so through the 90s and through those periods, there was obviously a lot of stuff which came along with that scene, and that was the drugs. And we were very, I would say our generation, we were not guinea pigs, but we experimented. There wasn't a lot known about ecstasy, there wasn't a lot known about cocaine at the time, or any LSD or any of the other drugs, but it was part of our scene. It got the better of me in a big way. So much so that after taking so much of everything, I had an altered state. I don't know if you're aware of what that means, but it's when your mind twists to cope with the intake of drugs. So you basically have to learn to function a completely different way than normal, or as we'd say, normal. So this happened to me. I was unaware of this going on here. You know, people say, come on, you've got to stop this, you've got to stop this. My friends here tonight were some of those people who said, come on, you've got to stop this. There was no telling me. I went, and I remember the moment that I went over the line, let's say over the barrier, and I went into deep entrenched drug problematic use, and that took its toll, and I ended up with hepatitis, TB, liver failure, kidney problems, lung problems. Basically, I was dying, and I was given 2 weeks to live, literally. I crawled into a hospital, a mental hospital, in fact, which is called the Lisson Grove, the Charlotte Nightingale, and the man in there, the psychiatrist's name was William Shanahan, was the foremost authority on every sort of addiction in London. He is the most incredible man. He saved my life, and I'll put it down to him, and he's now my mentor, which I'll tell you why, because after 15 years of not using drugs or anything like that, or so, I was getting a bit bored with the music industry. The internet started, and people were, downloading music at, for free, and it was taking the art of sort of finding tunes and educating your crowd and being, interactive with them. So I got a bit, bored with that, and I decided that I think everyone who goes on a journey has an urge to give back and to, help people through their experience and sharing their journeys. Which I think comes to everyone. And I made a call, excuse me, everyone. I made a call to the local drug and alcohol service to where I lived, which was called Blenheim. They were in Uxbridge, which I rang up, and the lady who answered the phone said, we know each other, we've met before. And I said, oh, wow, that's great. Can I come and see you? She said, of course you can. And I walked in, I thought, I know everything. I've had this journey. I'm incredibly talented, and I know how to cure people like that. She says, no, you don't. Sit down. And let me tell you really how it works. So she said immediately, she's sitting there, by the way, and she's been my friend for a very long time. She said, right, sit down. There is a program, there is a route to do this. You can't just, and this is where you learn about how life impacts on people. You can't just assume that everyone's the same. And when you recover from something, or you get better, or you don't get better, or however you improve, your journey is unique. It's your experience. Everything changes for you. It only happens for you. And I think the more people realise, and nowadays they do, that as the experiences are real and they're actually unique, as long as you can learn to work alongside those unique experiences for the people, that's a power which will enable them to change. So I wanted to do this, and I got this, Katie put me on this NVQ. And I hadn't looked at, I didn't look at an exercise book at school, so I wasn't going to start looking at one now, but I did. And they said, you have to write essays. I said, what are they? What the hell is an essay? And I said, I really don't know how to do this. Anyway, I got these essays written. I passed. I got sort of, I got passed, and I got the qualification, the NVQ level 2 in Pathway to Drugs, it's called, which teaches you about how to have, not an empathy, I had an empathy because obviously I'd been on a journey, but it teaches you how to have an understanding or a want or knowledge about how to speak to people, how to see how they're feeling, active listening. It's about hearing their story and about being able to work with them in a way of moving them forward, empowering them, making them autonomous in their journeys. Hopefully they can do some work on their recovery. So I did this, and I did this for 7 or 8 years. I ended up working for the NHS, and last year, actually it was just gone, the last year, I ended up working with people with multiple complex needs, which is people who have mental health, severe drug addictions, homelessness, criminality, and my job was to go and do outreach, which was to go to their houses, sit with them, and provide intense support, which took its toll on me. Again, so I had a burnout. I left there, and then 2 weeks later, I was asked to go in the Celebrity Big Brother house, would you believe? Which is up there, which wasn't the best move, I'll be honest with you. So, because first I'm not a celebrity, and I only bloody brothers, but anyway, I left. I actually walked out because you come from having boundaries, treating clients with confidentiality, not saying things, not doing anything like that, and you've got to go in this place and go, hey! Well, I didn't. I said, right, thank you very much, it's not for me. Anyway, so that's that. So let me quickly tell you, look, anyway, I'm going to tell you quickly about this tool that I use. It comes from a Smart Recovery. It's actually called an ABC, but it's not actually done that way. But I called it an A to E. Myself and Carl came up with this new name, dynamic name, A to E. So basically, if you word it, I'll do it firstly. My slides. Do I have my slides? That's a cable, it's not a clicker. I've never done this before, so let's have a look. So it's this. That's not going to be any good, is it? No, not that one. Here you go. So, hey! First time. Right, briefly, I'm going to not scoot through this, but so I mentioned to everyone about change and what inspired me in my journey of personal development. So recently, meeting everyone in these rooms and all of you, and we haven't spoken, all of us, but I will get around at some point. I suppose we keep coming, we'll meet each other. But it's a wonderful thing to be part of, and I think for me that when I went to UPW, it did change some of my life, not all of it. Carl helped me change my life. The speakers have definitely helped me change my life. Ian, Alan, and Brian, and all the other people. It's just so wonderful. And I think you've really got to appreciate what's on offer here when people share their experience. And they do, and it's fantastic. I love it. Anyway, so I did this goal map when I first went to Brian's thing, and I did that in January, I think. What does it say? So 1st January. I've ticked off 5 of those goals already. So the 90 kilograms. 90 kilograms. I'm 86 now, so I've done 5. That's 8 pounds, 9, 10 pounds. I've got a festival. Anyway, I've achieved those goals. Thank you. Right, I'm going to scoot through this. I'm going to tell you about this tool. It's very important. So we're the only animals that can initiate a rational response. We have the ability to adapt our thinking and to make conscious choices. People are disturbed not by things, but by their view of things. And this is what I was talking about earlier. These little things that people say to you or events that happen, and you think, oh, this has caused me to... When you use it in the world of people changing behaviours for drug stuff, people tend to go and use their drug of choice or whatever, their substance, or they initiate the bad behaviour attached to this event. So this is, believe it or not, that's a street drawing, and I picked that out because it's someone facing their fear. Okay, so an ATE helps you reduce or change an unhealthy emotion or urge about an event by changing your beliefs about the event. It's a technique that can help you change your emotion of consequences of the situations in our lives by changing the way you think about them. Learning this technique, you will develop a life skill that will help you think and feel better. I'm not going to tell the rest, you see the rest. And act more consistently with what you desire for yourself long term. The activating event, so react or respond. I'm not assuming, but I'm sure everyone knows about reacting. Everyone reacts, no one responds, and I think the more you learn, if you can do that, and I mean, I was guilty of it this weekend, but so the idea is, and I'll tell you the way that they're supposed to do it, it did get a bit confusing, but they say, so if we take straight to C, which is consequences, consequences of some mad actions, me at the Brit Awards, shouting with Ronnie Wood. I don't know if any of you remember that, but I got thrown off, at least. But that was something, consequences of not thinking something through. Anyway, so the consequences of a activating event may be, I don't know, for you, if it's unique, you've got a story, you may, let's say you're not supposed to be eating chocolate, you end up going to eat chocolate. You're not supposed to be feeling or doing this thing, but you end up feeling and doing whatever it is. It goes against what you've actually rationally decided not to do. So, some of the examples. How do I feel as I behave with this? I feel emotionally attacked. I feel anger and frustration. I feel lack of self-esteem, worthless. I feel shame and guilt. I'm not good enough, and I'll never achieve anything. Is this my fault? So the consequences of this event have made you feel like that. So, what you believe about the event is the irrational demand, or the I. So, I'm entitled to be treated better. They should never talk to me like that. I should have right of way. That's an example from, if you're having road rage or something. Can always stop tomorrow. That's what people say of obsessive behaviours. They say, oh, I'll stop tomorrow. It's always the next day. Don't worry. Who do they think they are? So you have a set of I beliefs which actually are not helpful to you. They're not serving you the right way, and there's no reason for you to suffer or to make yourself feel like that. So the activating event could be, what's the most stressing? They spoke to me in an unacceptable way. Your behaviour always winds me up. Why should I pull into the gap and let them through? My partner treated me unfairly. And from that, you have to think, and this is when you actually have to calm down. You have to realise that you're thinking this way. And this is why we're good as animals, because we can actually think about our thinking. And I've learned this because through my journey, I was in Vietnam for 5 years. My head was completely and utterly ruined. And you had all these negative beliefs, completely, it's like being reborn, and everything was negative against you. So you have to learn through your own experience how to change these beliefs. So in the D, the A to E, the D is a disempower. So you can disempower these I beliefs by asking a question to your subconscious and saying, well, let's have a look at the truth in this, and let's have a rationalise it and see if it's actually true. But once you do that, you calm down, you stop your reaction, you start to respond. So they're entitled to their own opinion. I'm okay now that they treated me as because I'm not as useless as I claim. Do I deserve to feel this way? Well, not really, because I've not really done that much wrong, and maybe they have, but that's their stuff. How is the way I'm feeling treat me, helping me in any way? Do I really want to do this? So there's a series of questions you can ask, and you can make them up. They're all for you. You can decide what is going to work, what questions you have to ask your subconscious. Then after that, the E is empowering new rationalizations. So, as I said, they're entitled to their own opinion. It's nothing to do with me. It's not my stuff. They are, so they may, okay, yes, right. So they may have something going on in their lives at the moment, which is not conducive to being nice to me. They don't have to be nice to me. So what you've done there is theoretically you had a self-talk, opened a conversation with your subconscious, but you've lessened the power. And I think if you do that on a daily basis, what I've learned to do, and it happens naturally. And some of these situations where people say things, do things, immediately, instead of jumping to that, think, oh, I feel bad, they said about me, you ask these questions and you will feel infinitely better in a really quick space of time. And it works for feelings, emotions, situations, and I've tried it in many. So, everyone, there is your A to E. Thank you very much for talking and listening and being... Wow. Thank you. Brilliant. Mwah. What do you say in the yes group? Yes! Yes!
Brandon, let's do this. Let's do a whoa.